This is an iPod Touch, and it's not just any iPod Touch. This is my very first iPod Touch. This is my first iOS device. This was the device that got me into, the world that I live in right now. This is the device that taught me jailbreaking. It taught me what, everything about these mobile devices are. And honestly, it's had the most special place in my heart forever. Just the entire iPod Touch lineup. It was, in its time, it was such a beautiful device. The aluminum back, with the mirror finish. It was horrible, and it got scratched and dirty so easily, but still, it was so cool looking, and it was just an excellent device. And it was just so awesome to finally have this, because for the longest time, I kept asking for it, and I didn't get it. And when I finally did, it was just something that, I fell in love with, and I've kept all of these years. So I think this is easily, around 11 years old now, and even till date, it works. I was actually just playing Doodle Jump on it a day or two ago, and I still have some old apps on there, and it's just a very nostalgic piece of history to me. So, when time came, I didn't get really a new iPod for a very long time. The next new iPod I bought was actually the 6th generation. Again, just out of that nostalgia factor more than anything else. It was just something I wanted to get because I wanted to relive the days of the iPod, even though I had a phone and I had so many other things that I could have used. But it was just nostalgia. And after that, slowly building upon my collection of devices, I amassed a lot more iPods. So I got the 3rd gen, I got the 1st gen, I also got the 5th gen. And it's just crazy how cheap these devices are. I don't think any one of them cost me over more than $50 or $60. And they're all in excellent condition. They all work. And they're all just so special to look at this lineup. And why I'm bringing all of this up today, putting this to the side for a second, is because of the brand new 7th generation iPod Touch. Now, the iPod Touch lineup, I really thought it was dead after the 6th generation, because even when you look at the 5th to 6th generation, there isn't very much to differentiate them. They look very similar. They were very similar. They had the same display, same everything. There was only a small processor bump, and it had been years, since Apple updated the iPod, and honestly, I thought it was dead. I didn't want it to be dead, but I accepted that it was what it was and kind of moved on. So when Apple announced the 7th gen with an update, I was kind of baffled because I didn't expect it. There's a lot of things I'm expecting from Apple. This wasn't one of them. So the 7th gen iPod Touch has the same processor as the iPhone 7 is the A10 processor. So I finally got a space gray. Last time I went with a blue. Before that, since I bought used, it's just a silver one. But the space gray I bought because it's, again, a different space gray. It's not the same space gray that's on the other devices. So it was just something that I ended up getting because I wanted to. So it is a 32 gig model, and now you might be wondering why I bought this, and the real reason is actually I want to run iOS 13 beta on it and see what it's like on a 4-inch device, and that was my excuse for actually buying this. So same thing here with the green pull tab. Same thing, it was on the previous generations. I even have the older boxes, so this is the 5th gen box. They had the same kind of sticker up here. If you can see, the sticker's all kind of gone bad now. I should actually, take care of that. But it's very similar. The last 3 generations have had the same exact design on the box too. This is the 5th gen right here. This is the 6th gen, and this is the 7th gen. So you guys can see very similar boxes. Really nothing much to differentiate them. They look identical. They're sized identically. And I'm 99% sure they probably have the same stuff inside. The only difference I see is that iPod Touch, the text on the side changes, and that's really the only difference with the boxes. So one more cool thing that I just like to, observe is that the iPod Touches have been coming like this. I don't know if the 1st generation did, but I remember even the 2nd generation came in a very similar box to this. So it's just so cool to see that Apple hasn't strayed away from that. I'm sure that you could say it's cost cutting to an end, but I don't know. It just seems such a cool nostalgic factor to keep the original box, the branding and everything around. So let me pull off this plastic. So just a small little square of plastic, and the box comes open. So there is another sticker at the bottom that really keeps this hinge. There's no real flap or anything on it, so I can just lift up the iPod like this. You can see right here. So it's cool. Let me put this to the side for a second. Designed by Apple in California. You get the iPod Touch manual, stuff, and Apple stickers, of course, all this wonderful stuff. There is a lightning cable and earphones with the 3.5mm headphone jack, which has not been around for a hot minute, if you guys know. Of course you do. What am I talking about? I'm sorry, I just sometimes end up rambling when I don't know what I'm trying to say, and it's becoming a bit annoying to me. I'm noticing it, and I'm trying to work on it. So let me move on to looking at the iPod itself. I really like the space gray color. I think it suits the iPod really well. Let me get it out of this plastic. So there is this plastic on it, which has a image of the home screen of the iPod. So let me lift that up. Comes off. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bend this plastic and the iPod comes right out like that. So that was something, the first time I got it, I was struggling to understand how this plastic, was removed. And it just turned out you had to bend it like this. And the phone, it just comes right out. And oh man, I forgot how lightweight these were. And I actually think that the 7th, oh no, it's because this one has a tempered glass screen protector on it. But this is a very light device. And again, just looking at it right next to the older generations, it's exactly the same. Not really anything to differentiate them. And I'm not surprised that this was never a big refresh. It's just a small one, and it's more for nostalgia's sake. So let me boot it up and see. So the screen, again, the same 4-inch screen that it does live on, in a way. This is the only 4-inch screen left now. Apple discontinued the SE, so this now survives as the only 4-inch screen that Apple sells today, which is, again, a small historic. It's just like this device just carries so many legacy things that it's kind of just, as I'm saying, it increases that nostalgia factor. So let me just set this up real quick and get back to you. All right, so here it is all set up, and it is running. Let's see which iOS it's running. It's running iOS 12.3, so fairly new version of iOS, not bad. And it is really cool to finally go back to that iPod Touch interface. It's so small and so different compared to what I'm used to now, with the iPhone 10, 10R. They've completely changed the way you look at Apple and the new Apple products. A lot of these interfaces and the way you interact with the devices have changed. You no longer have a home button, which has been the staple for iPhones for so many years. And just looking at a device that has one now, it feels so unique. And I think that the thing with this entire iPod for me has to be the nostalgia factor. It's super, super high. And it's just amazing to see that it lives on to see another few software updates. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be installing iOS 13 beta on here so I can experiment and mess around with it. And finally, it's going to be cool to have a black iPod with dark mode and just use it on the latest software, which is something I did not think I'd be saying ever. So that wraps it up for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the iPod Touch lineup, or anything else I can answer, please feel free to ask down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you check out my social media. I have all the links down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.